Pujas means to clear. Learning rituals. Learning secret tantric hand gestures called mudras. Using tantric instruments, vajras and bells, is only a very small part of the puja. Mastering hand mudras, mastering the offerings, mastering the tormas, reading the text, ringing the bell at the right place is only 5% of the pujas, in my guesstimation. It's important. 95% in the puja is what? Intent. There are lamas in Ganden who are very high. Chia, who's been with me for so long, has met. Like example, Genima Rinpoche, who is, according to very many people, is a bodhisattva, who has stayed in Yamataka meditation most of his life and achieved oneness with Yamataka. And one day, I went to his house and he lived right behind me in Ganden. A few of my students had the fortune to meet this bodhisattva who has passed away, and he said, no incarnation. He said, don't look for me, no incarnation. He told clearly to people. Okay, now, when I went to meet him, in his kamsen, I forgot what kamsen he belongs to. Go kamsen. In his kamsen in Ganden, they were having a Tara puja. Tara puja, all of you know how to do Tara. And the whole kamsen was there, and they invited Genima to come, and they set up a throne and stuff for him. And Genima wasn't there, and in his ladrang, there was very few students, not like the normal 5-6 people. There was maybe one person there watching him, taking care of him. So I go over to Genima's place almost every day to visit. I bring vegetables and I bring fruits. I bring a lot of offerings because I know he's Yamataka. So if I make offerings to him every day, it's better than offering to a statue. So I used to go all the time. And he liked me very much. When he see me, he'd smile and he'd go like that to me. He says, sit here. So I sit on the floor right below his feet almost every day, listening to him, talking to him, and having conversation. And he liked me because I joked and I played. And he loves jokes. He loves jokes. And he's a little smitchy in his own little holy way. You know, he has little smitchy jokes. Bitchy. Okay, but it doesn't hurt anyone. It's very funny. He'll say things, he'll stop and he'll make you think, you go, that was kind of bitchy and funny. But he never accuses anybody. No. He's a bodhisattva. He's a real monk. That's one, don't get me wrong. And one day we were sitting there and I said, hey, where's all your students? And Genima said, they all went for puja, Tara puja. And I said, I just joked, how come the Giku let you stay home and you don't have to go when everybody has to go? And he laughed because how dare the Giku tell him you have to go to puja or you're out? Because if you don't attend pujas, you get a mark. You get enough marks, you have to go see the disciplinarian to explain why. You break the discipline. So I joke with him. I mean, he's like 67 years old. He's an elite lama. He's high. And of course he's accepted from pujas. You know what I mean? So I joke with him and said, how come you don't have to go? And he said to me, how come you don't have to go? I said, because I'm a Rinpoche. He went like this. He says, what does that mean? I said, how come you don't have to go? And that's how we joke. Of course, I did it with deep respect. And he said, because I don't know how to do pujas. I said, oh, please. I went like this and nicely. I said, oh, please, Genla. I said, of course you know how to do pujas. He said, no, I don't. And I went like, it caught me off guard. One of the highest, most elite lamas of Ganden doesn't know how to do a Tara puja. I said, what pujas do you know? He says, I don't know any pujas. Well, even you guys know how to do Tara pujas. Even Gimli Rinpoche knows how to do Tara pujas. I mean, geez. He says, I don't know how to do any pujas. I said, oh. I said, why not? He says, I'm not interested in them. I said, why not? He says, I came to the monastery not to learn pujas. I came to the monastery to learn emptiness and to go meditate so I can become a Buddha. I'm not here to do pujas for villagers, because if I become a Buddha, I can benefit the villagers much more than a puja. And I was like, well, that shut me up for a week. So I said, what pujas do you do? He says, none. I said, what happens when you have obstacles? He says, when I have obstacles, I meditate on Yamataka. I said, oh. I said, what happens when people want to throw black magic at you? He says, I meditate on Yamataka. I said, what happens when people come and they have problems and they ask you to clear the problems? He says, I meditate on Yamataka. I said, then why doesn't everybody meditate on Yamataka? He said, exactly. And I was like, and so I said, well, when people have, like sometimes they get dip, sometimes they get some spiritual energy to come into them to make them have fits. I said, what do you do? Because there's a puja for that. There's a special mantra that you eat. It's a mantra written, blessed, and you eat it. It's called Sa, a deity Sa that affects you. You eat this mantra. When you eat this mantra, you stop having fits. I've seen it. It's very powerful. I said, well, how? He says, oh no. He says, on Yamataka? I said, yeah. He's got 34 arms. One of the arms is holding up a mabja. I don't know what to call this in English. One of Yamataka's hands is holding this. I said, okay. And I said, so? He says, this represents he can clear away obstacles from people, purify their body from interferences. So when Yamataka holds this one, it represents he can clear obstacles of that nature. So if you meditate, if you're an accomplished Yamataka practitioner and you bless the person with a mantra, they will be free from interferences without any pujas or eating mantras. And I was like, well, because if I have to clear their obstacles, if I have to clear the obstacles, I have to do a lot of pujas, because I'm not Yamataka. Anyways, that's what he said. And the way he said it wasn't like, I'm Yamataka and I just do that and they're fine. No, he was just very humble, very straightforward, just said it, point blank. And I was like, not 1 ounce of ego or showing off. And I'm very sharp. None. And he said to me that every single item that Yamataka holds in his hands represent a power you can accomplish through his meditation. In Vajragini's Tantra, the 34 arms of Yamataka, this side 18, this side 18, this 18 is combined into Vajragini's right hand, this 18 is combined into Vajragini's left hand. So Vajragini's 2 hands represents those 34, same. And I was like, oh, he didn't say that, but I concluded that. So I said, oh. And then he said, Yamataka's one of his hands is like that, pointing down, holding nothing, but the mudra is like that, pointing down. I said, yes. He says, well, if you do Yamataka's meditation and you do the mantra and blow on the person, then any spirits who want to enter them or harm them, this mudra and Yamataka avoids them from entering because this is a threatening mudra. Don't disturb my students. So I said, what do you do? He says, well, I meditate on Yamataka and then I blow the mantra on them and they'll be fine. I said, no pujas? He says, no. I saw this with my own eyes. Now, so I said, you don't go to any pujas? He says, no. You don't know any pujas? He says, no. He says, actually, I don't have any need for pujas. And I know what he meant, because the way he said it to me, it means he's accomplished Yamataka. Through Yamataka, he can clear everyone. Not necessary. So I said, when you do divinations, what do? He says, I meditate on Yamataka. I was like, oh. Don't you have to do black tea before your divinations? Offer some incense, purify the room? He says, no. He says, the room is always purified because of Yamataka. And I realized that if you focus on your yidam in that strong way, it's the same for any yidam. If your yidam is Tara, if your yidam is Yamataka, Vajragini, Hiruka, Guhya Samaja, Kala Chakra, it's all the same. And that's how he accomplished it. So I said, Genima, seriously, you don't know any pujas, not even Tara. Because Tara is like really easy. I even learned that in America. He's like, no. And I was so inspired. I was just so inspired that when you accomplish your yidam, means you and your yidam have become one. And you become very powerful in your meditation. You don't need any pujas. And sometimes when the rains don't come on time in the monasteries, the villagers, even the Indian villagers, will come to the monastery office and ask them to do puja. So the monastery has set 10 to 15 monks aside to do rain pujas. Within a day, you'll see the rains come. Especially directed to Nagas. But when Genima was in the monastery, when the villagers come to the monastery come to Genima. And Genima goes outside and he blows into the air. And I asked him, what mantra do you blow into the air? He says, Yamataka. And I went, oh. I said, which one? And he told me. Because the Yamataka has 4 mantras. So I said, oh. I said, all you do is blow Yamataka's mantra in the air? He says, yes. And then it rains. And I've seen it. I've seen him not once or twice, a few times, get assisted out and stand outside of his house on his veranda, blow mantra in the air. Literally look at the air and blow it. And then within 15 to 20 minutes, it will start raining. I've seen it with my own eyes because I live right behind him. His house is literally from here to the corner of that altar, twice that distance. That's it. I see it clearly in the light of day. I mean, he doesn't do it in the night in a tent. And there are times when some seasons the rains are very heavy and then the crops will die. So the villagers come, they go to the office of the monastery. The office of the monastery representative will come with katas and offerings, maybe 2 monks, I see, and they go and ask Genima. Then Genima will go outside. He'll blow into the air in the rain. It's raining. Within 30 minutes, the rain will completely stop. And I mean for days. I've seen this with my own eyes. That's why when I talk about Vajrayogini or Yamataka or anything, I know those tantras work. But you see, for those to work, you have to prepare your groundwork now. You have to be honest, do your work hard, don't be sneaky. You need to let go of your ego. You need to do all that now. So when you do Vajrayogini, you have the results very fast. You don't get rid of them when you get Vajrayogini. Because by the time you get Vajrayogini, you won't be able to get rid of them at all because it's built up so strong already. Now get rid of it now. Surrender now. Surrender your ego. Go all the way. Now, for ordinary people like you and me, pujas are very effective because pujas come from either Buddha himself or one of his great disciples, like one of the great pandits like Nagarjuna, Chandrakomi, Dhammakirti, one of these great masters, or someone like Atisha who made the wealth vase pujas. The wealth vases in Tibet they didn't exist in India. Atisha made those. Because in Tibet, getting things for Dharma was very difficult. Supplies, needs, sponsors, materials, because Tibet was quite barren compared to lush India. So Atisha, when he came to Tibet, when he was building monasteries, it was very difficult to get people and sponsors and what they needed to build. So he invoked Tara's blessings and he created wealth vases. And what it contains inside, the mantras, the prayers, so if you could have that wealth vase, it will bless the environment to attract like a magnet the things you need to make the Dharma grow. That was originally started by Atisha. So a lot of pujas were created by highly enlightened master. Example, even Pabonka Rinpoche came along with very powerful pujas. The Yamataka sadhana is written by Pabonka, current. There were sadhanas in Yamataka before, but Pabonka condensed it and made it even more effective for today. So there are many pujas written, and some of the pujas by the lamas are from their own understanding of current pujas, and they combine it and make it better. Some pujas are from visions. Some high lamas actually have visions, clear, authentic visions, in which certain beings will teach them, and they will write down the pujas and they're compiled, and it's very effective. Certain pujas were planted in the environment or in the minds or the area of the person. So when the time is right, that puja will appear. Example, let's say in Cha's life, 10 lifetimes ago, one Rinpoche planted a puja in his mind stream. Then he said in 2011, when you have this disaster, this problem, that puja will come to light. So let's say that we have a disaster or problem, and then Cha's here, he'll remember the puja. Maybe he make a prostration, he'll remember. Maybe he do his guru's mantra, he'll remember. Maybe he does a puja, he'll remember, and go, oh, then he'll write that down immediately. And that becomes a mind puja, something that was planted lifetimes ago. That can happen also. Rare for us, but not rare. Anything's possible. So pujas are effective mostly by intent. If your intent to do a puja is to show off, get money, get respect, then the pujas will be effective, but not totally effective. If your motivation for doing the pujas is truly, as much as you can, to benefit the recipient, that means, let's say Gimli asks you to do a puja for her health, and you do it with the intention that, yes, I will do medicine Buddha, and I want Gimli to get well, and I want her to have her obstacles removed, and I want her karma purified so she can do Dharma, so she can become an enlightened being to benefit others. For this reason, I will do the beautiful and powerful medicine Buddha. And when you do the medicine Buddha puja for Gimli with that motivation, not only her obstacles, your obstacles for health will be clear too. Okay, you can do pujas for individuals, yourself. You can do pujas for an institution like Kichara. You can do pujas for a business or organization. You can do pujas for a group. You can do pujas for a country. You can do pujas for a purpose. You can do pujas for a particular aspiration. You can do pujas before traveling. You can do pujas for safety, for protection. You can do pujas for attainments. Example, Tsok pujas are for attainments. When we do the Lama Chöpa, composed by the great Panchen Rinpoche, when we do the Lama Chöpa Tsok puja, La Tsok, it is for attainments. What is a Lama Chöpa Tsok puja? It is to support us in gaining a great amount of merits. So whatever tantric practice we're doing, gain results. So let's say we're doing Yamataka. Let's say we're doing Manjushri. Let's say we're doing Black Manjushri. Let's say we're doing Tara. We're doing Vajragini. We're doing Yamataka. You see, for those tantras, to get results, you need a lot of merit. So every 2 weeks, you do a Tsok puja. In the Tsok puja, everything is multiplied. If you have 10 things there, it's multiplied to 1,000,000, an example. So when you offer up 1,000,000 items, you gain the merit of 1,000,000, so that you go back to meditate after the puja, you gain accomplishments. So therefore, in between Tsok, you should do your sadhanas very well. You must do your sadhanas very well. So when you do your sadhanas very well, and you don't miss Tsok, and you do your Tsok well, it collects a tremendous amount of merit for you to gain enlightenment. So Tsok pujas have many purposes, but primarily to gain merits for your tantric practice to bear fruit and result. For your tantric practice to bear fruits and result, you must have very strong guru devotion, guru samaya, and to hold on to your words and honor and vows, samayas of commitment. So whatever vows you've taken during the Tantra is very important. So you hold your vows very strongly, you have very strong Guru devotion, and you do your sadhana and practice. That one, combined with Tsok, will gain attainments. Put it in a nutshell. It's all connected. So therefore, when we do pujas in Kichara, I don't want our people to be lopsided, 6:30, or just simply make up something and do. We have to have a true lineage. We have to have a true source. So we're very fortunate that my friend Genlo-san took time from his studies and his examinations to come and teach us. And he's learned it from an authentic source. And he is from my monastery, ours. So we know the source as well. How do we know? Because he's not doing the pujas on his own in his room. He's doing it in a monastery with thousands of other monks. So whatever he's doing here is what the monks are doing every single day in Ganden. Think about it. What you guys are doing here is exactly what the monks are doing in Ganden. How do we know that he's correct? Because he's doing it with thousands of other monks every day for the last 10, 15, 20 years. He can do it with his eyes closed. And he studied the puja since he was very young. Unlike me, when I was very young, I was in a disco dancing to Madonna in America. So I don't know a lot of pujas, but it's all right. I aspire to be a Gain Nima. Why I'm aspiring to be a Gain Nima could be because I'm lazy, or could be I have good intention. I'll leave that to you guys to think. Now, so whatever he's teaching you here, I want you guys to remember Kichara House and all my friends. It is exactly what thousands of monks are doing in Ganden. How you pick up your Vajra and bell, how you ring your damaru, how you throw your rice, how you use your bumba, your vase, is exactly how the holy monks and the high lamas such as Trijang Rinpoche, Song Rinpoche, Ganden Tripa, Shapa Chöje, Jangse Chöje, Khensu Jamba Yeshi Rinpoche, Khensu Kunchu Tsering Rinpoche, all Kyabje Lati Rinpoche, all these high lamas, for their whole lives they benefit others with pujas, right? It's exactly what you're learning here. Think about that. So whatever Lati Rinpoche was doing during his life, pujas for other people, whatever Kyabje Sar Rinpoche was doing, whatever Trijang Rinpoche was doing, is exactly what you're doing here. You think about that. So when Trijang Rinpoche was doing this, that's what Genla's teaching you, that's what you're doing. When Trijang Rinpoche was doing this with his Vajra and bell, that's what Genla's doing, and that's what you're learning from him. So exactly the way Trijang Rinpoche is moving, you're moving. I want you guys to have the impact of that in your mind. How fortunate you are. And I want you to ask yourselves, what merit did you collect in your previous lives to sit in front of a Ganden Sangha to learn authentic pujas to benefit others? What merit did you collect? I want you to think about that for a minute. What did you do? Remember, I always say cause resemble results. Results resemble cause. So you must have done something in your previous lives to collect the merit to be right here. Look at you guys. What were you guys doing before the Dharma? Nothing wonderful, nothing bad. I mean, you're just hanging around like a mosquito. What do mosquitoes do? They eat, they sleep, they mate. That's what you guys are doing. You eat, you sleep, and mate. I mean, you're not bad, but you're pretty much like a mosquito or any other sentient beings on this planet. Just eat and sleep and die and mate. So what did you do? To be here in a beautiful altar with 108 Lama Tsongkhapas, or 200, whatever, I've lost count. In front of Tsongkhapa, with Dharma friends, with the aircon on, in a pleasant atmosphere, with a real monk from Gandhin, learning real pujas stemming from Trijana Rinpoche and Pabongka Rinpoche. What did you do? Are you going to throw this opportunity away by leaving this room and then going back to your old poor me justifications and insecurities? Or you can go all the way. And for the pujas to be really effective, during the pujas, you're reciting holy prayers and mantras and supplications and aspirations and words and meditations. So when you leave this room, are you going to use the same mouth to be mean to people? To use your mouth to hurt people? Because if you are, it's like putting honey and milk and curd inside your mouth and then putting dirt and feces and pee in your mouth and mixing it in your mouth. Then swallow that. See? What did you do to be able to be in this room to learn these pujas? That His Holiness kept your Trijan Dorji Chang, kept your Song Rimchi, kept your Lati Rimchi, Kensu Jamba Yeshi. What did you do to sit here and learn these directly? And you don't have to go to Gandhin. You don't have to spend any money. You don't have to come out with anything. Someone sponsored their ticket. Someone sponsored this place. Someone sponsored the aircon. You didn't have to pay anything to learn. Monks like them spend 10, 15, 20 years in a monastery with their haircut to learn all these things. You don't even have to become monks. How come you're so fortunate and lucky? I rejoice for all of you from my heart. I rejoice how fortunate you are to be in Kichara, to learn sacred pujas, sacred rites, sacred prayers, passed down by the masters of the past, who we know are living Mahasiddhas. And did you spend your whole life like Genla, studying, meditating, retreating, holding vows, being clean, being a monk? Did you spend your whole life doing that? Or did you spend your whole life having a good time, enjoying yourself, doing drugs, alcohol, whatever? And then you're here at the same level, in the same room, learning from a monk. What did you do to deserve this? Obviously something. I want you guys to think about that. How fortunate you are that when it's puja practice, run here and have the best motivation. Be alert, be very respectful. And if I may recommend to all of you, at the end of pujas, when you finish learning, all of you from your own pocket should put a beautiful ang pao and offer it to Genla. Am I telling you to offer ang pao? Yes, I am. He's a monk. Don't offer him silly things, a little bell, a little clock, all these things he cannot carry. Offer him an ang pao to collect merit. You're very fortunate. What's an ang pao? It's an expression of our appreciation. How much what something was worth to you. Now, when you learn these pujas, make sure you're dressed appropriately as usual because you're in presence of monk. You guys are dressed fine. Act appropriately, sit appropriately. Don't point your feet at the monks. Don't talk loud in front of the monks. Don't start pushing and joking and playing with the monks. They are monks. This is a real monk, not a business monk, a real one. Why should you do that? Because he's way above you. In one sense, yes, because he's very disciplined. In another way, it's to show respect for the Dharma, Sangha, the third jewel. Learn the pujas very well. Study it and practice it. And when you have the good fortune and luck to perform the pujas for others who ask you for your help, listen to this. By doing the pujas, you help yourself. By doing the pujas, you help the person requesting you. By doing the pujas, you collect a great amount of merit for you to attain enlightenment, and before that, attainments. By doing the pujas well, you also can help in getting donations to sustain our beautiful center. Most of you don't have money to give to the center, and I'm talking for everybody around the world. Most of us don't have a lot of money to give to the center, but if we did, we would definitely donate. I'm sure you guys would definitely help. But you see, if you don't have the money, you have the skill, well, that can draw the donations. So by doing these pujas well, it will draw donations to give to the center, to sustain the center. Are we doing pujas for money? No. But that's a byproduct, so we might as well face the facts. It is a byproduct, so you can help Kichara that way. And never just play after pujas, never go out and just play and just pretend and just tell people and show off. Always be humble of what pujas you know. Don't show off. Don't just do part of it here and there and play games and show people and talk like that. Don't bring down pujas to a low level, because there will be less effect for you. Talk about it. Facebook it, tweet it, blog it, explain and share how fortunate you are. Not one, not twice. Since you enter Kichara, and for everybody in Dharma centers, your life has completely changed for the better. Today you're getting real knowledge. You're getting secret knowledge. Do you know that people in the past, in the early 30s and 40s and 50s would travel very far to go to Tibet in disguise to learn the secrets of Tibetan pujas and tantras, because they are effective. And now we brought Shangri-La here, we brought Tibet here. Think about it. We don't have the fortune right now to have a few sanghas staying in Kichara constantly or consistently, not yet. But we can do halfway. We can learn the pujas ourselves. Be humble when you do the pujas. Learn the pujas well, perfectly. And if you miss something in the pujas, do it over. Make sure that whatever people have, whatever people ask you to do for their health or their business, whatever, make sure it's genuine. And when you make the offerings as beautiful, as extensive, as rich and beautiful. Rich means what? Extensive as possible. Rich doesn't mean you need silver bowls. If you can put silver bowls, rich can mean if you're using paper cups, use a bigger paper cups. Never be stingy on pujas, because they're all for the Buddhas. Pujas that have been offered to the three jewels, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, you may eat a little afterwards or as a blessing. Pujas that's been offered to the local gods or nagas, you don't eat. It's very important to remember. And before puja, make sure the offerings are pure and wonderful. Even preparing tormas, you should be enthusiastic to learn and come and do. Do you know why? Because the tormas are being offered to the three jewels. According to Saranchi, the ingredients of the tormas correlate with certain attainments accomplished in Tantra. The ingredients of the torma, along with the color and the shape. Ingredients, color, and shape of the tormas correlate directly to certain attainments achieved in Tantra. So those attainments achieved in Tantra manifested in symbolic form is the tormas. So when you're offering the tormas up to the Buddhas, you are offering back the symbolism of the attainments you wish to gain. So therefore, bodhicitta can manifest as a moon disk on a torma or a white torma. Purification of negative karma can manifest as a red color on a torma. Meditation on the winds and channels to move your chi so you can gain control of your mind, so you can gain control of your depth, can be manifest on the white butter that is the line that is put on the edge of a torma, on certain tormas. So therefore, the attainments you gain in Tantra correlates with the shape, color, and ingredients of the torma. So even making the torma, your mouth is covered, your hands is clean, and you do it well, you do it perfectly. You don't do it with a slouchy, bored, let's get this real quickly done attitude, because even making tormas is part of the Dharma practice. That's how extensive it is. So Kyabje Saramji says offering tormas is one of the root ways to gain attainments. That's how powerful it is. So therefore, the offering should be extensive. Your table's big, your offering should be big and full also. Whatever you are taught as the primary offering, see, these are the primary offerings. You can replicate and duplicate it. That means you can do 20, 30, 40 butter lambs and stuff. Your tormas can be bigger. In the monastery, I was very well known and famous for that. When I asked for pujas, the tormas this big, I usually sponsored them to make tormas this big, that big. They'll be, we know, you want the tormas big. Yeah, the monks will always say that, we know. Because every time I call the monks to my room, I always call the monks to my room and say, okay, I want this puja done, I want this puja, because I'm sponsoring. And then they say, oh, how many tormas? They'll say this many. I say, oh, make it triple. They go, but this is enough. I said, not for me. They go, okay. So whenever we do tormas in the monastery, I know what, I require the tormas, like this torma is unacceptable to me. But it's fine. It's fine, because by Tantra, you bless it to become very big. But for me, my meditation is not so big, so good, so I just have big tormas. It saves me the work. So I always make huge tormas, big ones, a lot of ingredients. And sometimes I put the ingredients in, the monks say, that'll be enough. I said, no, just dump it in there. Always. I mean, if you're going to invite Tara, you're going to invite Buddha or Vajrayogini over to have your torma. It's a party. It's a little dinner party. You don't want Vajrayogini and her 32 dakinis and Hiruka and Yamata all come and say, that's it. like who gets to eat first? So I like to have a lot, because I always have dinner parties for Buddhas. And my dinner parties always have a lot of offerings. It sounds like that, but that's my imagination. I wanted to plan. And then the place where you have the tormas, the room should be very clean. The room should be very clean. You know why? When you're inviting special guests over, aren't you going to clean your house and make sure it's clean? Otherwise they say, ooh, dirty, but you lose face. You should make sure the place is clean. You should make sure whatever you put out is perfect. You should make sure everything is bountiful, full, because you're inviting very special guests to come. That's how I do it. Okay, so I want you guys to feel very fortunate that you are learning pujas here from a real source, a genuine source. 1. 2, you are learning pujas as another expression of your compassion. You're learning pujas as another expression of your compassionate activity, because this activity can benefit somebody in the future. So it's an expression of your compassion. What else could it be? Thirdly, all the conditions for you to learn are here. How fortunate are you? The monk is here. Everything is paid for. There's rooms. There's knowledge. Everything's comfortable. Everything is brought to you. You don't have to go to Tibet. How fortunate you are. So your job, good motivation, pay attention, learn it well. That's your job. So in Kichara House, we are very different than many other centers, with deep respect to other centers, with deep respect. We are very different than other centers because we have so many activities. We have so much to learn, and what we're learning is authentic. It's authentic. You think about all that. In the near future, in Kichara House, I will institute 1 to 4 persons to do Tara Puja every single day, dedicated to our organization. So let's say that in Kichara House, we're going to be doing Setra Pujas every single day. So whatever is necessary for Setra Puja, Kichara House will sponsor, because the benefit will go to the whole organization. So in the future, I'm going to institute Tara Pujas to be done in Kichara House every single day. Do you know why? Tara has a very, according to Saramji, Tara has a very special energy that she's very quick to help success in Dharma work. So any Dharma work we want to accomplish, the monks in Ganden, Sera, Drepung, Tashi Lompo, all these great institutions, Gyudur Gyume, will invoke upon the gentle lady goddess, Tara. So for things to accomplish quickly and faster, especially Dharma work, Tara is the Yidam. Tara is the Yidam. She removes obstacles for growth of Tara. So I would like very much for Kichara House to do Tara Puja. And a normal Tara Puja, minimal, is 4 people. Correct? I would like to have Tara Puja done every day. And another puja I would like to do every single day eventually is Dukkha. Why? Dukkha is powerful for removing obstacles that are beyond our control and protecting beyond our control. So I would like very much Dukkha Pujas and Tara Pujas and Setup to be done every single day from Kichara House, for Kichara House, and all members that come. It will make the place even more powerful and blessed. Doesn't sound very exciting because we do that in the monasteries. We do Tara Puja almost every day. Before we debate, you have to do Tara Puja every single day and the torma to Setup every day. Every day it's done. Hence the monasteries grow. Imagine, let's say that Gimli does Tara every single day for all of Kichara House. She's our representative. She represents all of us. She's invoking Tara to bless all of Kichara House. Very, very powerful. So therefore, I was very excited that all of you are doing this. I'm very, very happy and I rejoice from my heart all of you are doing this. And I want you guys to please master it without any deficiency. Be precise. Do you know why it's precise? Because somebody's life might depend on these pujas in the future. How much more worth is a person's life? It's beyond price. You can lose anything but your life. Some people's safety and protection and care and accomplishment and some people's aspirations, if you do these pujas, will change and make it better for them. Change their destiny, make it better for them. That's a beautiful responsibility. It's not a heavy responsibility, it's a beautiful responsibility. So learn these pujas without any deficiency, meaning no mistakes. And learn it well because it's another expression of your compassion. And this is what we do in Kichara House. We have traditional pujas available. These pujas are not usually done by lay people, probably never. Okay? In Gandhin at least. So you guys are able to do this. You're very fortunate. All right? Now, before you start your pujas, training, have a good motivation. May I learn this to invoke upon a certain deity, to remove the obstacles and problems of others, so they may gain attainments, happiness, and fulfillment. And after you finish your pujas, you should do the same motivation. And you should learn the pujas very well, have a good attitude, and be very cohesive with each other. If you're in the back fighting, being bitchy to each other, and you sit here, do holy puja, doesn't match. Like I say, why put curd or yogurt in your mouth that's sweet and then put poison on the other side and then mix it? Doesn't make sense. And if there's someone who is not nice and not kind, just let them be. Just leave it. Their karma come back to them what to do. Okay? So that's very, very important. Feel good about the pujas you're learning. Remember, they have a real source, it's authentic, and it really helps people. I wanted to talk about the 7 limbs that's related to the pujas, but I'm not going to talk about it today. You guys take a rest. Good. Let's master these so Kichara House has another service to offer the public that will benefit them. And it benefits us. This is the best education you can get.